Taipei, 1997. A warm Monday morning began like any other, but for a young woman named Hsiao-yen, the day would never reach its routine. 16, bright and compassionate, she kissed her mother, Bing, a celebrated singer, comic actress, and TV host, goodbye before setting off from their villa towards school. She would never arrive. At some point on her walk, a white van slowed beside her. 3 men grabbed her and sped away, disappearing into the city streets as though she had vanished into thin air. By 4 p.m., Bing realized her daughter hadn't returned. A phone call would shatter the fragile calm of her world. "Shut up! Don't say a word," a male voice warned. "We have your daughter. Check outside." Outside the villa, nestled in a bush, lay Hsiao-yen's lunchbox. Inside was a ransom note in her handwriting. "Mum, I'm hurt bad. Save my life. Prepare $5 million. Don't call the authorities or I'm dead." Beneath it, a series of photos showed her bound and gagged, and wrapped in tissue paper was one of her pinky fingers. Bing called the police. The situation demanded discretion, but despite a requested media blackout, the story broke in 2 major newspapers the next day. Taiwanese media descended on Bing's home like vultures. Reporters camped outside 24/7, helicopters circled overhead, and every move she made was scrutinized.
每一位小孩子都是妈妈的心肝肉，没有任何一个孩子可以遭到这样子的一个遭遇。
86年4月14号，艺人白冰冰的女儿白小燕在上学途中失踪。晚上7点找到了被切除的左小指，白冰冰立刻向警方报案。隔天，白冰冰接到歹徒的电话，要求赎款500万美元。
The kidnappers, watching closely, must have seen the chaos unfold. The culprits were soon suspected, a trio of criminals, Lanin, Chen and G.A., bonded by past incarcerations and notorious for violence. Negotiations began. Bing delivered messages, followed instructions and prepared the ransom. She drove through the streets, tailed by undercover police in a disguised taxi, but also by news vehicles and helicopters, further endangering her daughter. Exchanges were arranged, aborted, rearranged. Meanwhile, Hsiao-yen's fate grew grimmer. On April 24th, a call to her mother revealed her terrified voice. "Stop it! I don't want to die! Mum, save me!" But unbeknownst to Bing, her daughter had already been killed 10 days prior. The kidnappers had beaten her to death in frustration after failed ransom negotiations, then faked her voice in subsequent calls. Her body, mutilated, was discovered days later in a drainage ditch, weighted down by dumbbells.
86年4月28号，警方在五股工业区中港大排水沟发现了白小燕的遗体。法医杨日松表示，至少死亡8天以上。板桥地检署在5月3号正式对陈进兴、林春生和高天民发出通缉令，展开全面追捕。
Bing laid her daughter to rest on Mother's Day, 1997. The tragedy stunned Taiwan, a country long celebrated for safety and order. Crime rates had been climbing, and now the public feared for their lives. Protests erupted demanding justice and accountability. The manhunt intensified. The police, under enormous pressure, were instructed to neutralize the 3 suspects at all costs. Using a trace from one of the final calls to Bing, authorities located a hideout and arrested 12 accomplices, but the trio escaped. Over the next months, Chen, G.A. and Lanin evaded capture while committing further crimes, including high-profile kidnappings and murders. G.A. even underwent facial surgery to avoid recognition. Finally, on August 19th, police located the fugitives. A gunfight broke out. Lanin was killed. G.A. committed suicide. Chen escaped. Over the next months, Chen's crimes escalated. On October 23rd, he forced plastic surgery on Dr. Fang and his family to conceal his identity before murdering them. By November, Chen had kidnapped the family of a South African military attaché holding them hostage for hours in downtown Taipei. Negotiations conducted under intense media scrutiny were tense and dangerous. Shots were fired, hostages injured. Yet, through careful diplomacy, the family survived. By November 19th, Chen finally surrendered, 7 months after going on the run for his heinous crimes. He was sentenced to 5 death penalties and executed in October 1999. In the aftermath, Bingbing withdrew from the limelight, channeling her grief into public service. She founded the Swallow Foundation, providing legal support for crime victims and advocating for justice. Taiwanese authorities reformed their crisis protocols, and over time, law and order were restored. So Yen's story became a grim turning point, a chilling reminder of how violence, crime, and media frenzy can intersect with devastating consequences. For Bingbing, the tragedy defined the rest of her life, a life devoted to helping others, haunted by the memory of the daughter she lost.
I knew how to disarm a man and to kill him, but it's a slightly different situation when your daughter is standing in front of you and he's got his pistol against her head. My greatest fear was for my family, because he was known to go for young women. I said to the family, whatever this man says he must do, don't argue with him, just do what he tells you to do.
I asked him if he had children. I just learned Mandarin enough to ask him, and he said 2.
And he looked at her, and then he left her.
他是知道要把这件事拉高到一个国际性的一个瞩目事件。
Chen also phoned the police, and he started yelling at the people on the phone. If you don't come around here and listen to what I've got to say, I'm going to kill these people. The police began to taunt him in an effort to try and get him to show himself so that they could shoot him. The next minute, one of the police fired a shot. Chen fired a shot back, and the moment he fired back, they just fired indiscriminately through every window, every door in the house. The first thing he did was to grab Melanie and held her in front of him. And he looked at me for a long time, and then he took Melanie and he thrust her aside and threw her down on the floor next to me.